Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I am your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm privileged to welcome a very celebrated soldier with very significant achievements from Chandigarh, India, Major DP Singh. Major Singh, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for bringing me on this show. God bless you all. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Major Singh is an Indian blade runner. He is the first disabled Asian solo skydiver, and he is the first disabled Asian to fly an aircraft. He has a biography written about his life, which is titled Grit, the Major Story. And given the amazing work that he has done and all his achievements, understandably, he has been awarded, recognized, and felicitated several times. So, Major Singh, let me start by asking you a question that I'm sure you've been asked many times. Can you share the story of the day you were injured during Operation Vijay? And how did that experience shape you for the rest of your life?
Well, that day did not shape up anything because a bomb came my way, which was perhaps meant for me only. uh, it just bursted into many shrapnels, and the shrapnels got stuffed inside me. And within fraction of seconds, I was unconscious because of the injuries, multiple injuries all over the body. Heavy blood loss made me unconscious, and the bravery of my soldiers, seven Dogra boys, and an operation which was conducted by jointly by all the units around my unit to give a cover fire and make a cloud cover so that they can evacuate me. And the never say die spirit of doctors, the medics, enabled me to start my another life because in the beginning when I was received after 2.5 hours of the journey to the nearest hospital, the heavy blood loss and cardiac arrest made the surgeon think that I am a dead body.
Hmm.
Colonel Rajinder Singh is the person who changed the scenario. He was the anesthesiologist in the MH Aknoor. When he saw something, he revived me out of death, and that's how the journey started.
Incredible. What an amazing story. But how did you manage to get the mental strength to fight back after such a major injury?
Well, that is because of the connection which I made during my childhood with the, I would say, spiritual connection with the Almighty.
Hmm.
Because if you pick up that book, Grit, the Major Story, it gives out the story of my childhood where I was away from my parents when I was as young as a student of second class. I was with my grandparents, and grandparents shaped me in a very disciplined type of a lifestyle. For a small kid, it was a little tough, but when I see it now in the hindsight, I am whatever I am because of the nurturing which my grandparents could give me. But when I say for a small kid it was tough, I was a lonely kid. I was totally aloof from everywhere. the the comfort and pampering of parenting was missing. So I used to look around, and one day, in fact, I ran away from my house thinking that this is not the place for me.
Hmm.
That was my first U-turn in the life because somebody known to me saw me walking outside my city limits, and he left me back outside my house.
Wow.
That U-turn enabled me to get into the thinking mode that what was I doing?
Hmm.
Running away from the reality. Today I am able to put it into words, but that time perhaps as a kid I was not able to make any statement. But
Hmm.
these were the thoughts which was continuously ringing my mind that had I got caught by some person, or like what would be the future had I just run away and got into some dark areas.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that gave me a idea that it is not possible to run away from the realities. What is important to stay wherever you are, in whichever conditions you are, and put in your best to come out, or rather rise out of those conditions and situations. And that's when I was connected with my religion, Gurdwara Sahib, by my grandparents. And I used to start listening to the stories of bravado, courage
Yep.
of all the gurus and their life.
Mm.
And then I connected it to the armed forces, and I realized that this is the reality of, I mean, my background. I can relive the history of Sikhism in today in the form of being a army officer.
Correct. Correct.
So, because armed forces people also are in the similar fashion, courage, sacrifice for unknown people, like the Sikhism did. So these thoughts imbibed in the childhood enabled me to understand the second and the toughest U-turn of the life when I was injured. That running away from it is not going to help, and these injuries are sustained in the war, which is like a luck to me, because
Yeah.
similarly, like my gurus did not shed even a single tear when they lost the whole family. So who am I to actually cry over just small injuries and a loss of a limb and something like that?
Amazing. Amazing.
So
Amazing. What a great response. Yeah.
this attitude, which was built up unknowingly in the childhood, helped me to face the challenge of the life.
And so, what were some of the emotional challenges you faced when you realized that you'd had an amputation?
Well, to be very frank with you, as I mentioned, amputation did not bother me at all ever. Even
Okay.
today, physical injuries does not bothers me at all.
Hmm.
I never felt that the leg is there or not there. Rather, I take pride in sharing the first thought which struck me when doctor told me that leg will not be there. It needs to be amputated. I could knew beforehand itself, looking at the condition of the limb, and two thoughts struck me. One was a fraction of pop-up image, which gave me an idea that this perhaps is a new challenge in the life. Let me see now how persons with disability or amputees lead a life. And one day, perhaps I may be able to lead a life which will not be inspirational for me, but for many others.
Absolutely.
Now, a youngster who is just 24-year-old cannot imagine such things on its own. So that is how I give this credit to the spiritual power. Perhaps there was some spiritual power which got imbibed in me and gave me this idea that face it like a challenge, like a task given to you as a purpose in your life. The second thought was my own, which was like I promised to me that I will never compromise with the quality and standard of my life. So this promise which I made to me, that come what may, I will never compromise with the quality, the way of life which I wish to lead. Enabled the first one, which was a spiritual thought, which I do not take credit of my own, to become a reality. So physical injuries did not bother me at all.
Right.
Of course, emotional injuries, which I sustained later on because of my being a single parent, my divorce, and PTSD. All these things did impact me. However, spiritual power did enable me again to understand that if somebody is supporting you, it is good. But if somebody is not supporting you, it is even more good. The reason being, you are being tasked with any challenge in the life,
Right.
with a purpose, with a perspective by somebody much more powerful than you, to whom we know as God, Almighty, supernatural, whatever, with an idea that if if a challenge has been given to somebody, that person has the power and ability to rise above those challenges by building his or her inner strength, by understanding himself or herself even more better.
Very well
So
said.
in this process, if somebody is not supporting you, that person is rather helping you indirectly to enabling you to understand you even more better. Because the moment you get into somebody's support, you become little weak. You tend to become weak, and because the moment that support gets shackled or gets shaken up a bit,
Hmm.
you tend to lose confidence.
Very well
So
said.
out of the two processes where you are going totally solo through a challenge versus another way of living with little bit of support system, I feel a lucky one will get total solo journey,
Hmm.
because that way the person will understand his strength even more better.
Hmm.
So this is the way emotional injuries did impact me, but it also, alongside, gave me if I can use the word wisdom, to understand that if somebody is not there, some emotional injuries have been given
Hmm.
to you, that is for your own benefit. Understand, build your
Correct.
inner strength, and rise above these
Hmm.
challenges.
Very well said. Well said. And then, amazing, you decided that you wanted to, uh, participate in a marathon. How did you prepare mentally and physically for your first marathon? And tell me about your journey of becoming India's first amputee marathoner in 2009.
So, Mr. Garg, you would be amazed to know that I was never interested into long distance running when I had full body intact.
Okay.
It is only after losing the limb, it is only after sustaining 100% disability, I got the idea that let's do some action on ground,
Amazing.
which sort of gives an example that the ability is a state of mind.
Hmm.
It is the mindset, it is the attitude which enables you or which disables you. It's
Hmm.
not at all related to your physical injuries or body limb being there or not there.
Hmm.
And again, courtesy the general public perspective, which created doubt about my ability, and a soldier inside me which thought that action of a soldier can speak louder than any gyan or a lecture given by anybody.
Correct.
That is the reason why I got into the most difficult activity for a person who does not have a leg to run long distance.
Hmm.
Of course, the preparation was very tough because I was not aware how to use an artificial leg for running purpose.
Hmm.
What are the issues and challenges related to it? How to cope up with the difficulties and injuries which you sustain during the journey, whether the processes will fit in better
Hmm.
or not, whether this is the perfect type of a processes or not. All these ifs and buts were there in my mind,
Hmm.
but the clarity was very clear that I have to cover 21 kilometer of half marathon anyhow
Hmm.
with a I would say ethical way,
Hmm.
not any unethical way.
Hmm.
With so when you are clear of your goal, and you start walking towards your goal with passion, answers fall at place at the right
Hmm.
time.
Hmm.
And I got my answers at the right time without anybody's support, which I kept on imbibing and evolving through the journey, through the injuries. And the result was, of course, being the first amputee marathoner in
Hmm.
India in the history. And then the blade, running with the
Hmm.
blade. Of course, running with the blade was even more tougher than running with a
Yeah.
normal leg,
Hmm.
because when you run with the blade, you run like a normal man, and your body is going up and down with every step, which is
Hmm.
like three times of your weight,
Hmm.
which uh, get into which makes you get into a process of rubbing the socket with your skin. And when the stump skin gets rubbed with the
Hmm.
socket, it gets peeled off. So such injuries I used to
Hmm.
sustain after every blade run.
Wow.
But again, as I say, in every moment you have two options to lead or to live life with.
Correct.
Either you choose yes
Hmm.
to the situation in front of you, yes, I will do it, yes, I can do it,
Hmm.
or you choose no, no, it is not possible for,
Yeah.
no, I can't.
Hmm.
Either of the option you choose, it is okay, it is correct, but your life will get transformed in the similar direction as the option chosen by you. If you
Hmm.
choose yes, I can, slowly you will see you are drifting towards the positivity, and you are bringing change all around you by the grace of God, like I could do it. But had I chosen no, like many other amputees before me, I would have been unknown amputee living a normal life, or may not be a normal life.
Absolutely.
So that is the reason. That is the reason they say that with your intention, good intent, karma of choosing yes or no in this moment can shape up your tomorrow's destiny.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very well said. You also talk about embracing failure as the winning factor. Help me understand this with an example.
So a very perfect example fits in when I was in 11th standard. I mentioned it in my book also. You know, as I told you that in the childhood itself, I was connected to the spiritual side of the human being, and I was so there's a statement that everything happens for good. The spiritual statement that everything happens for good, embrace it. Now, when I got flunked in 11th standard, a kid was not able to understand that when you are leading a life where you are away from your parents, the pampering and the comfort is missing, you are being questioned for your actions, wrongdoings, and here you are again flunking in a class, wasting of time, effort, and money, and not your money, somebody else's money, which is perhaps very, very critical for the person. So this, how come everything happens for good, kept on, troubling me for a long period till I was repeating my class, and I came to the school one day when my previous class, which I left, who were in 12th standard, were on preparatory leave for the board exams. And I was still coming to the school. During recess, one day in my school, there was a mango grove area, and there was a big beehive which was fiddled by some naughty kid. All the bees of that hive, clung to a small kid of, I think, second standard, or a girl child. Suddenly, I saw during recess that there was a pin drop silence in that area, and I was amazed that why is it so? Maybe I am late in the class, recess is over. But then again, in the next moment, I saw that girl child walking towards me, crying, howling on top of the voice, as if a beehive itself is walking towards me. It was such a bad. Out of nowhere, I don't know what happened to me. I got into action. I picked up that girl and took her to the school, and she was taken to the hospital. And next day, it was told to me that had she been late by 5-7 minutes, she wouldn't have survived.
My goodness.
Now I got into a thinking mode again that this was the reason why I failed in my class, because when the whole school was missing and there was a pin drop silence in Mango Grove area, I was moving around in that alone because I was supposed to be in that moment present in that area. How was it possible had I not failed in the class? Because I would not have in the school only. So if you lose 1 year or some effort of yours for saving somebody's life, it's actually for good. Now, unfortunately, at times we do not understand the nitty-gritty and such examples given to us by the life for a very long journey, because we are in a negative arena of mind. We keep on negating the thing that it is not as per our wishes, so it is not correct. So till the time you are in a justification and a negation mode, you will not understand these deep things of the spiritual angle of the life. I could understand, and it happened very fast, just in a span of 1 year. And that again builds my confidence and faith and trust on the Almighty, that keep doing your good work and everything will fall in place with your good intent actions, with your karma.
Great response.
Let me tell you, when I was repeating the class, My new batch was much more powerful in the sense that they were much more brighter students, and the whole class is settled in a much more better fashion, like a doctor, engineers,
Mm,
and officers, versus the previous class in which I was, which I flunked because they are not doing as well as the next batch was.
mm,
So everything fell in place
correct.
with one failure of the life.
Mm, amazing.
So everything happens for good.
Absolutely. Well said. You also, you're a big advocate for organ donation and you've pledged all your organs. I'd love to get your perspective and your message on the importance of organ donation.
See, these are all our restricted mindset that the body should get cremated,
Correct.
or it should be dug, or it should be, when there is no life in the body,
Mm,
and there are beautiful parts of the body which can be used by somebody who is suffering because of loss of such things like eyes or heart or something like that. What is the need of wasting these beautiful
mm,
organs, you know, naturally made by the God?
correct.
Ask me as an amputee, the natural leg is not there. I'm wearing a prosthetic leg. It will never be able to match the natural leg.
Right.
So when you have the power, see, all of us are having that one portion of Almighty sitting us
Mm,
inside us.
yeah.
And if He has given you, if that supernatural power has given you, empowered you with so many beautiful things which you
Mm,
can donate after your life,
mm,
you are not there, you are no one. And as it is, people are treating you, people are not treating you as XYZ name, they are treating you like a body.
mm,
Get the body, take it to the mortuary, get the body
correct.
for the cremation and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So why to waste such beautiful, naturally gifted organs by the Almighty? Might
Right.
as well use it for somebody else's
Very true.
good.
Very true.
You will be blessed for your good deeds, and maybe some of your wrong deeds get washed away.
Mm, well said. Well said. That's one way of looking at it. And I hope this very powerful message is heard and actioned upon by so many people. My wife has donated her body as well.
God
Basically, I have
bless.
time for two more questions for you. I want to ask you about your NGO, the challenging ones. You have over 3,000 members. Tell me a little bit about the work that you do through this NGO.
So when I ran my first blade run, which was my fourth half marathon
Hmm,
in 2011,
hmm,
I understood that this marathon running by an amputee is not happening like a fluke. It is
hmm,
possible for anybody like me.
hmm,
However, in this process of this journey of 4 years, there were many challenges as an amputee, as an extreme athlete. I faced and I could find the answers of that.
hmm,
Now, it is very important. It was very important for me that these answers, which I learned out of my own experience, should be shared with other people like me.
hmm,
That was the reason of starting the group, the challenging ones.
hmm.
The name comes from physically challenged. I said, no, we are not physically challenged. We
Correct.
can challenge anybody.
Absolutely. Hmm.
And when a group of challengers come together, it is known as the challenging ones.
Very interesting. Well
So we
said.
registered as an NGO, and this NGO is not into helping in the form of any materialistic way.
Hmm,
Rather, we think that building the attitude, using sports as a method,
hmm,
is the best approach to imbibe anybody with the confidence to lead a life despite losing or amputation of any type of a
hmm. Amazing.
in-
Amazing. And my last question for you. After having achieved so much, despite all the challenges you faced in Operation Vijay, what's next for Major Singh? And what are some of the future goals or challenges you are setting for yourself?
I don't set any goals and challenges for myself.
Okay.
In my opinion, I am living a life with a purpose which is being set very beautifully by somebody who's sitting up there.
Correct.
My only effort, consciously and subconsciously and unconsciously, is to face whatever situation I am being thrown into in the life and put in my best to work out of those challenges by building my own inner strength. In this process, all these outcomes have come till now. I had, as a normal human being, I also had tried making plans of the life. I will do this and that, and I realized all those plans goes for a six. Let me tell you, even armed forces, strategize, plan that we'll go into the war with plan A, plan B, and stuff like that. But when they go into the war, they realize that it is none of the plan which they actually thought of is working. It is the newest plan made by that company commander or the platoon commander on ground, which is actually helping us to win war. So I'm not saying don't plan, because when you plan, you actually give your brain a processing power to think on various tangents. But at the same time, your plans may not get into reality every time 100%. There will never be an ideal situation.
Right.
So one should prepare yourself to manipulate any adversity with a passionate and confidence, attitude in the life. That's why I don't plan.
Very well said. Well said. And on that note, Major Singh, I just want to say thank you so much for speaking to me about your own incredible journey. I have read a lot about you while I was preparing for this conversation. What a powerful message you have given us. There's so many lessons, but so easily and so modestly you ascribe everything to the Almighty. And all the amazing mental strength you have been able to build in yourself, you also say is because of Almighty. I love the way your story was when you were sent off and you ran away from home and someone found you and brought you back to your school. The message that you gave to our viewers and listeners was running away is not an answer. Your story is going to motivate thousands if it has already not done so much, but there are so many more people who will listen to us. There are so many lessons that I picked up from my conversation with you, and I'm sure my viewers and listeners will pick up many, many more lessons from the conversation. Yours is a true story of amazing grit. I'm going to ask all our viewers and listeners to go and check out your book, Grit the Major Story. Thank you again for speaking to me, and good luck to you.
Thank you, Mr. Garg. On this end, I will share a couplet with you, perhaps
Yes,
in Hindi, which
please.
old gentleman and an old gentleman who was a poet wrote on me. And it goes like this, that अभाव की जिंदगी में भी जो रहे प्रसन्न, अभाव की जिंदगी में भी जो रहे प्रसन्न, सच्चे मायनों में वही सर्वगुण संपन्न.
बहुत अच्छा. Outstanding words, beautiful words. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All the best. Keep smiling. God bless you all.
Will
Jai
do.
Hind.
Thank you. Jai Hind. Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.